What is going on, YouTube? I'm back with another video. This time, I'm gonna try and be consistent. So please remind me in the comments to post a video every week. If you follow me on Twitter, just remind me for just be like, hey, Thanos, your post. So that way I can stay consistent. But I'm gonna try my best. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and break this down. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I want to keep this video short. So three stocks I'm watching for the week. Walmart, AMD, Apple. So I'm gonna go over Walmart first. So Walmart, I started on the weekly. There we go. 'Cause I'm like, how do I get rid of that? All right. So Walmart, see right here, came down this pocket, right? This wick, bounced back up. So I drew a fib from this doji candle right here because when price made this bullish engulfing candle, what happened? We stalled. So that's why. Where's the full? There we go. My fault. Okay. So yeah, so anyways, this candle right here, doji candle stalled, right? Price went higher, broke above this doji candle, right? So this is telling me that now the trend is up. Why? Because if price was gonna keep falling, it would have done it. Price would have pretty much failed this candle. But what happened? We held above, maintained, came back down, right? To fill this imbalance down here on the lower time frames, and now we're up here. So now we break over 99.49, this high right here on the weekly. I'm looking at 101, I'm looking at 104, and I know people can be like, oh, why 101? Because there's a gap right here on the lower time frames. So that's weekly going down to the daily. So you see on the daily right here, gap. That's why I have this right here. So there's a gap right here. Then on a daily, you can see it well, right? This candle right here, doji. Well, these three candles, right, is a doji candle. I just went down to the daily, so of course it split the candles up. But obviously, what did price do? We came back in this zone right here, right? In this area of demand, instant, right? We wicked it. So obviously on the lower time frames, right? Price went sideways right here. It probably took out stops and then it bounced back up. But on the daily time frame, it's just this candle right here. On the daily time frame, this candle came down in here, right? Bulls were able to maintain, right? And then it closed up here. So pretty much. And then this next candle, what happened? Popped up, right? So I think this is the island baby, whatever it's called. It's an island something. But anyways, I'm getting off task. Anyways, I'm looking at 101 and I'm looking at 104. I'm pretty much looking at a new all-time high. But if we don't get the all-time high, I'm at least looking at 101. And if we come back down to 93, 92 on Monday, if price does gap down back in this area right here, I'm buying. But if the break over 99.49, if we hold, this confirms that price is gonna go in this gap. But knowing how the market is, Monday and price might just gap up to 101 and it might just invalidate this whole long setup I have. Then on the 15-minute, see you can see it better. Right. This is the current leg on the lower time frames after earnings too. So that's why. Yeah. And then yeah. But I like this gap right here. Actually, this gap goes all the way up to 103. But anyways, Walmart, pretty much we break over 99.49, or if you want to be cautious, then wait for the mental break of $100. So pretty much over 100 bucks. I'm looking at 103, 105. AMD. AMD, I'm looking for a pullback to this one on the weekly as well. Why? Oh yeah, that's why I didn't change my. I was like, why does my chart? Okay, there we go. There we go. Probably should have saved this. Okay, yeah. So AMD, I did it on the weekly as well, I believe. So as you can see, I know it's like a lot going on, but I'm gonna explain. So pretty much this right here, I'm gonna draw a square. So this might just be a long video. So this right here, right? This right here, they pretty much both have the same setup. The only difference is this is an uptrend, this is obviously in a downtrend, but it's pretty much the same uh motion. If that, it's hard to explain, but it's just it's the same uh condense of the can. It's hard to explain. I just know it looks the same, right? And then usually if we had this retracement on AMD, what happened? We had this giant impulsive move and it took out the top, right? Same thing down here. I'm looking, price came down. So now since we ranged down here and we gapped up, I'm looking for price to take out 135. That's pretty much why. Or even this high right here of 131.71. I just did this because there's a gap right here. But if I'm being real, pretty much looking at price to come back up to 131.71 on AMD. So that's the weekly. Then I'm gonna just get rid of this so that way y'all can see it better. But pretty much we broke this trend, this downward trend right here, hence this candle. So that's why I'm bullish on it. Then on a daily, I'm just really focused on this right here. So pretty much I'm looking at a pullback down to 113 because there's a gap right here. But on the daily, you see we filled the gap right here at 122. We have a gap to fill at 126.85, another gap to fill at 136. And then I think I drew the ultimate, yeah. So on the weekly, I drew the range from this low to high, right? And then I just copied and pasted that over here. So that's why I got 134. Well, anyways, let me go to the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, I'm pretty much looking at price. I'm pretty much looking at AMD to fall down to either 113.35 or to come down to 110 and hold. Or it might just come down for this gap at 103. But anyways, I'm looking for AMD to pull back first so that way I can long it. I'm looking for the long because I'm pretty sure since price broke this downward trend and it's starting this and price is trying to go up now. I'm just looking for that pullback so that way I can enter. But the only thing about stocks like this is they have so many gaps and they're just annoying. So usually I know people gonna be like, oh, but there's a gap at 88. What if AMD comes down here? If it was gonna come down here, it would have done it already. But what happened? It it just kept going. So if price keeps going, I'm just gonna trade the trend. And end of the day, you just have to trade the trend. As long as price is making higher lows and higher highs, it's bullish. Lower highs and lower lows is bearish. So pretty much this right here, I'm not gonna enter on because it's just choppy. So I'm waiting for a price to show me a setup, a long setup, so that way I can enter. So what I mean by that is if price can pull back, I don't care about this gap right here at 115. I'm pretty much looking at this 113 gap because this is the overall. So if price can come down to 113.35 and hold between that and 112.92, which is the 618, if we can hold this level, that's a good long, right? 112, and then you can do, depending on your risk, dollar stop, $2, $3. It just varies on you. But I usually do like a $2 because my targets are higher. So 112, and I'm not gonna enter when it hits 112. No, I'm waiting for a setup first for either we start making a higher lows on a 1 minute or something, and then I enter. But I'm not gonna enter off the first candle that hits this level because usually the first candle that hits a gap level, it has the most volume. So that's why you have to wait like three or four candles before you can play that trade because that's just the right thing to do. So, anyways, if we don't hold this level, then I will wait for price to make a deeper retracement down to 110.87 because we have this imbalance right here. And that's the only reason why I took that zone. Of course, we can come down and fill this whole gap to 108. But regardless, what I'm trying to say is AMD is setting up. So just keep it. That's my timer. So just keep it on watch, right? If we do get this deep retracement on AMD, and as long as price can stay above this line right here, of this downward trend, as long as we stay above this downward trend line, it's bullish. It's bullish because it broke this trend line that price set since here. I'll show y'all. I'll just go deeper. This might get confusing, so I'm sorry in advance. But just pay attention. So right here, right? This is the start of the trend line, right? So from there all the way, I'm gonna just say right here to the 8. How long is this? How many days? 92 days. 92 days. It was in a downtrend, right? So if we just follow like law and order, like like yin yang and all that, if we spent 92 days going down, then price should spend 92 days going up if we're using logic. If I'm basing this just off logic and just off of what I see right now, and hence, so pretty much this move should be done by July 11th. I could be wrong. It's just a guess right now because I'm still playing around. But I, but to me, since price broke above this trend line, and knowing this, we might honestly come down and retest 103, this trend line again one more time before confirming. If that does happen, instant long. But if pretty much if we don't get this trend line top and if price holds like 113, 110, the lowest I see is 108. We hold 108.37. I'm looking at break of 122. I'm pretty much looking at a break of 122.52, 126, because it aligns with that gap, 129.16. Then I have 138 and I had 132.06, which is this high. I'm pretty much looking at price to come back up to this high at 132.06. That's my overall TP on the higher time frames. On the shorter time frames, obviously I'm looking at a retracement back down to either 112, 92, 110.87, 108, or possibly 105. But pretty much I'm looking for a pullback so that way I can long this move back up to 132.06. If that sounds confusing, I'm sorry. It's just like there's just it's so much. I'm trying to talk about so much in so little time. So yeah. Anyways, I'm on right now. I'm on the 15-minute time frame. So that's pretty much what I'm saying. I'm trading the trend. So pretty much if we come down here, like if we hold the 114.76, here are my fibs. So I have the 618.5 and a 1.618 -1, right? 0.75. So if we hold the 50% range of this move and this volume, then price is just gonna go up from here. Because I can see this playing out too. Because I see this a lot playing out. Because usually the market won't give us that deep retracement because it knows that's what people want. Because name games buy low so high. So usually they do like a a smaller retracement, and then they will go. It'll just keep going, and then those people will FOMO in. Hence the 122.52 break. But anyways, I know it's a lot of arrows, but these other areas I'm looking to buy at. That's all I'm trying to say. Last but not least, Apple. Apple, same thing. I'm gonna I'll just stick to the hour time frame and I'll show y'all. Well, actually, I think I did this on a 4 hour. Anyways, Apple, same thing. Like, I don't think I think Apple is bullish now too. Because number one, usually when we have these downward moves right here, followed by a giant impulsive bullish sticks, you see how big these sticks are? That usually means that the trend is changing, hence. So usually just based off of this violent, impulsive V shape right here, I'm bullish. Because look, it came to this gap, right? Price came down to this gap, right? Made a low, and what happened? The moment this candle, I bet money there's a lot of volume behind this candle. But the moment we came here, when this next candle opened up, what happened? It engulfed all these candles right here. This candle, same thing, right? Inside, inside, engulf, right? Engulf these two candles, not this one. What happened? Gapped up, came down, trend line, right? So now I'm looking at I'm pretty much looking at this gap to fill. I just measured a fifth from the gap. So I'm looking either at 202.10, 202.9, or 203.65. Let me get rid of this. So if price holds this gap, if price comes down and we hold this gap, I'm longing it up to 219 to 219 and possibly 227 on Apple. But yeah, usually when price makes those move, usually when price makes these impulsive moves like here, like if we gap down and the moment we fill a gap, especially a gap that hasn't been filled since May, right? That's and especially we know that there are buyers present here. Because if there are no buyers present here, then Apple would have just kept going and it would have broke under 164. Let's be real. If there are no buyers right here, then Apple would have kept going and broke down. But what happened? We didn't, right? From this, ever since we made this low right here, we've been making higher lows and higher highs. I know people are going to be like, but the candles look so ugly. So how do you make low, high, low, high? What am I doing? I just copy and paste. Low, not me to copy that. High, then obviously low, right? We didn't break this high yet. So since we didn't break this high yet, I'm looking for that pullback. And then once we get that pullback, that's when price should break above this high of 214.56 and fill this gap. And half of this gap, I'm pretty much looking at 219.21. Then I'm risking $3 for a gain of 15 bucks. But yeah, but this even though the price action looks ugly, as long as we are making higher lows and higher highs, it's bullish. If you are making lower highs and lower lows, it's bearish. That's pretty much my conclusion. Like I don't care. Like yeah, I know it looks ugly. Like I'm looking at this right. I'm staring at it right now. Like it looks like this price action. It's ugly price action. But when you go down to the lower time frames and break it down, it really isn't that bad. We just came down and we just filled all these gaps, right? Because that's what price likes to do. Price likes to if we make a gap in the market, price likes to come down and test that gap. So that is why I am bullish on Apple. And this is the current trend right now. And we filled this gap up here. That's why price stalled. So hopefully we can get that 203, 202 pullback on Apple. If we don't, then expect price just to gap up to 219. And we hold 219, then price might just do that gap up with that one candle. Then the next candle should pull back. Then that third candle, it should have a giant impulsive move and go up to 225 or 222. Pretty much 222, 225, 227. If price gaps up to this gap on Monday. But if we don't gap the gap, pretty much if a candle on Monday, if that first stick doesn't gap up to 219, and if we are still in this range down here, then I'm looking at 206, 203, 202. For my pullback, for my entry, then I'm looking at 219. But sorry if I rambled. I was trying to break it down in a way that's easier to understand because it's kind of hard to explain what I'm seeing. You just have to like the more you look at price action, then then you're then the more you start to understand what I'm saying, and the more it will make sense. But you really just have to sit down and study price action. All right, that's it for me. I don't want to make this video too long, but knowing my luck's probably like 30 minutes long. So I'll see y'all in the next video.